Ed Gonzalez, Harris County Sheriff, joined here by Lieutenant Fonville, also with the Harris County Sheriff's Office. This morning at approximately 4:30 a.m., we received a call out here to this location. There was a small 3-month-old infant that was unresponsive. EMS arrived and pronounced the 3-month-old deceased here at the scene. The preliminary information that we have is that overnight, grandmother was watching the infant while her daughter, the mother of the child, worked a shift work at a local restaurant in the area. And so there were a couple other children in the home, 2 smaller children, I believe, and possibly 2 teens. The grandmother left the infant in the living room. There's some hardwood floors there, and the child would not move very much. And she eventually went to sleep sometime around midnight. Throughout the night, at some point, one of the other children in the home, we believe, moved the child to another bedroom. There's a mattress there on the floor, and placed the child or the infant there. At some point, it appears that the child may have moved some, landed on the floor somehow, and found itself inside a shopping bag, just a regular shopping bag. And the assumption right now is that the child possibly suffocated. So very tragic situation out here. Mother's very distraught. Just very sad. They saw her with a red Christmas hat on, coming from work to receive this kind of news. I'll say that all the information we have right now is still very preliminary. We conduct very thorough investigation anytime anyone is found deceased, but especially a small child. So we'll look closely at the autopsy results eventually, try to corroborate the information, and really try to piece together what exactly happened. But what we do know is the 3-month-old is deceased here at this location, and it's, of course, with the time of year and Christmas Eve, just a very sad situation for everybody. But we're going to get to the bottom of it. But that's the information that we have right now. Brevemente, en español, esta mañana, como a las 4:30, recibimos una llamada de este local que estaba una niña de 3 meses, un niño, perdón, que no estaba respondiendo. Llegó la ambulancia y lo confirmaron muerto aquí en la escena. Sabemos que por la madrugada, pues la abuela estaba cuidando al bebé porque la hija estaba trabajando el turno de noche en un restaurante local. A través de la noche, otro de los niños que estaba dentro de la casa posiblemente movió el niño a una recámara en un colchón que estaba en el piso. Parece ser que el niño de 3 meses se pudo mover un poco, cayó dentro de una bolsa de compras y parece tal vez que se sufocó. Entonces vamos a hacer una investigación muy completa para ver qué fue lo que pasó. Any questions?
Was it the baby's brother or sister that moved him to the mattress?
We're not sure which. If there were several children. Do you know the relationship?
There was I believe it was a
Yeah, this is a pretty young family. Grandmother's pretty young in age as well, so mother's fairly young, maybe early 20s, and again 2 other children, or we said children, but smaller children, and then some teens that were in the house. We don't know exactly who moved them. Grandmother would leave the child in the living room just simply because the hardwood floors, the child would not move very much. But somehow somebody moved the child throughout the night is the early information we're receiving, and they woke up to a child that was unresponsive.
Did the baby roll off the mattress or pull the paper? I'm just trying to wrap my mind around kind of an understanding.
Yeah, we're trying to make sense of that as well.
Yeah.
We know there's a mattress in there. Lieutenant, can you shed any light on that?
presumably yes.
To which part?
Rolled off.
Rolled off?
Yes.
Okay. Rolled off a mattress.
And they described the infant as being pretty active for a 3-month-old. So again, I know at the 3-month age, toddler age, some children are not very active. This was described as being active, but we'll have to piece that together. Again, the autopsy will be very informative to us, so we could piece everything together. Everything's corroborated. We piece everything together. Interviews here at the scene, the autopsy and other things, just to confirm everything, to make sure. We never want to think bad, but it's our job to seek the truth, and then we'll see where the evidence leads us.
Is the baby a boy or a girl?
A boy.
A boy. Does anything look fishy?
Not at this time. Again, it's very hard to tell. My experience with children, those are very complicated. A lot of times the autopsy will indicate more information to us. But at this moment, we're not going to draw any conclusions from it. Nothing looks out of the ordinary so far. And so, but it's early on in the investigation. The homicide investigator just arrived on the scene, trying to just piece together what they have, trying to console the mother as well. That was pretty distraught, and that's what we have right now.
Was the baby like wrapped in any blankets, or because I just hear so much about parents and newborns and that they shouldn't have that on. So I'm just.
Yeah, traditionally when we see small children like this, it's more SIDS type of death where it's co-sleeping. But that wasn't the case here. We don't know of anybody that was sleeping on the mattress. There was a bed also in the room. Was there heavy bedding around?
There was a lot of bedding, but what I'd heard was that he had been able to wrap himself up in a blanket and then roll off the floor.
So we had slept with bedding. That wasn't strange. I mean, this baby was with bedding a lot. Is that what you're saying? Slept with bedding.
At that point in time, yes.
Okay.
And again, the aunt was not on the bed, is that right? It was just the infant on the bed.
That's the information we received early on. Yeah, once we interview everybody again, find out who exactly found the child unresponsive, then we'll be able to confirm all that. It's still early on. Later on we'll provide any updates on what we learned from the scene investigation. They haven't even gotten into full interviews at this time.
I mean, this is a parent's worst nightmare to happen on Christmas Eve, obviously. And so many parents are going to see this and think, well, I've done, walked away from my for a second. Your reaction to, you went into it a little bit, but the fact that, this is a scene that you have to be at today.
Yeah, it's very difficult. Again, we were just talking Christmas Eve. It just, you hate to see these type of tragedies. I'll say that over my years of experience, working these type of scenes myself, it's difficult. We see it happen a number of ways. We've seen drownings where somebody just turns away briefly. We've seen in bathtubs. We've seen co-sleeping leading to SIDS, all types of different ways. And this overnight, I mean, this child was left alone in the living room. Maybe that was normal here. I don't know what happened when grandmother went to sleep around midnight and how late the children stayed up there were in the house and how much they wrapped the child in bedding. But you got to be very careful with a 3-month-old because even with bedding, they could get their nostrils pressed against a sheet or blanket or pillow or something, or in a bag of some kind. And they're not very strong enough to be able to lift themselves or react when the breathing begins to be labored, and so it could be very tragic and deadly. And in this case, it apparently was. Again, it's still preliminary because we've got to let the evidence take us to the ultimate conclusions and look at the autopsy results and interview everybody. But at the end of the day, regardless, the 3-month-old is dead, and it shouldn't happen on Christmas Eve. It should never happen, and it's a very sad situation. So obviously, we'll let them grieve, deal with this, and we'll try to be supportive. And then our investigators are the best of the business. They'll figure out exactly what happened.
How many people were inside?
There was at least 4 or 5, right? Including grandmother, some teens, 2 other smaller children.
I believe that was the count.
So 5 including the baby, or 5 other than the baby?
Well,
5
5.
other than the baby.
Yeah.
And as far as the house, the condition, how would you characterize that?
It's just a typical home.
But not just
Nothing. No, nothing.
Nothing out of the ordinary.
Nothing out of the ordinary.
Any calls of service?
We don't know yet. Yeah, we just
But
they
they
just
don't have
arrived.
like a reputation.
Nothing. Yeah, we haven't canvassed the area or talked to neighbors or anything like that. That's all part of what we'll do, just to see if anything is out of the ordinary. We always obviously, want to find out about the family, but we're simply not at that stage. The investigators just got out here. Lieutenant Fondle and his team did a good job of securing everything pretty quickly, and it's that situation out here in the Sterling Green community.
It sounds like this aunt just wanted to be close to her niece for Christmas Eve. Is that right? She moved the baby to be in the same room as her?
We don't know exactly, what was happening. The grandmother kept the infant usually when she watched in the living room simply because she specifically said with the hardwoods the child would not move as much, and so somebody, one of the other children, teenagers or somebody, moved the child, maybe thinking it was more comfortable or to be closer, as you said. We don't know that, but moved him to the other room, and that's the information. And unfortunately, the child was found unresponsive.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
The baby's coming, yeah.
Yeah, boy.
Thank you, Sheriff.
How young? How young? 40s?
I never did ask her her
Yeah.
age, but she's relatively young.
Probably late 30s,
maybe early 40s,
Yeah.
somewhere
Yeah,
in
somewhere
there.
like that.